These are some of the most dangerous dogs in the UK.
If they are not raised correctly, then they become lethal killing machines. Fact.
The XL Bully was banned 2 years ago, but they're still taking lives.
I got a phone call from my brother. He said that Morgan was dead. She'd been killed by a dog.
Kennels housing seized dogs are bursting at the seams.
Hello, we've got a job on. We've got a dog that's attacked a person in the car.
Traumatic injuries that you would see on the equivalent of a battlefield.
Animal welfare campaigners say it's time to rethink the law.
The problem with these dogs is this end of the lead, not that end. The problem is the person who's holding the dog.
Panorama investigates whether the ban on XL bullies is working.
It was just a normal day. I'd been at work, Kayla had been at work. Morgan had just moved down to Bristol on the Saturday.
It was February 2025 when 19-year-old Morgan Dorset left her Shropshire home for a new life in Bristol.
It's a very alternative city. It's got the music, the art that she likes.
She just loved life.
Yeah, she was going down to see if this was the life that she wanted.
I will see you soon. I love you.
Just 4 days after arriving in Bristol, Morgan was attacked by an XL bully in the flat where she was staying. Morgan's uncle was the first to hear the news.
He literally just said, "Morgan's dead, Marie. Morgan's been killed."
As the family drove south from Shropshire, back home Marie's video doorbell rang. It was the police. Through the intercom, Marie was able to speak to them from her car.
Are you at home at the moment?
No. Obviously, we've already heard from my brother.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're on our way to Bristol already.
When you get down there, the police down there will be able to contact you as well.
Yeah.
All right.
All right then. Oh my God.
Our condolences for the news, obviously.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God.
And it wasn't until they said our deepest condolences that I knew for definite that she was actually dead.
What was the breed of dog that killed Morgan?
It was an XL bully. The dog weighed more than her. He went for the neck. I hope and pray that it was quick.
The amount of questions you asked your big sister every day. Like, what am I going to wear? I don't know. Does this look okay? You know, your big sister will give you an honest answer. She's always been there. She was the constant in my life. Yeah, until she wasn't.
A woman has since been charged with having a dog dangerously out of control, causing injury, resulting in death. Morgan was killed just 1 year after a new law was introduced to stop fatal dog attacks like this.
The legislation doesn't work. My daughter wouldn't be dead now if it did work. Kayla wouldn't have lost her sister. The law needs to change.
3 years ago, I investigated the trade in extreme dogs for Panorama. I found American bullies being used as status symbols by criminals.
This is my boy that's going on my bitch. Short, compact, massive head, really short he is.
The XL is the largest type of the American bully breed. We found it was being deliberately bred for increased size and muscle.
An XL bully is a big, broad, meaty dog, big, chunky head, okay? Some would say intimidating-looking dog. Others would go, no, they're just a big, soft teddy bear. If they are raised correctly, temperament is fantastic, and they are incredibly reliable, dopey family pets. They are not raised correctly, then they become lethal killing machines. Fact.
In the 3 years leading up to the ban, the UK government recorded 23 fatal dog attacks. It said the XL bully was involved in many of the deaths.
A heartbreaking note, a close-knit community torn apart.
Police say the death of a 17-month-old girl after being attacked by a pet dog has left her family and the local community in
Price was
shock.
killed in what Staffordshire police have described as an horrendous attack by 2 dogs in broad daylight.
Senior police officers say they were becoming overwhelmed.
What were your officers facing?
Individuals with traumatic injuries that you would see on the equivalent of a battlefield. We were seeing people with decapitation level injuries, and including children.
This was something that your officers had never really faced before.
Hugely difficult for the officers that were turning up to deal with those.
Something had to be done.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that whatsoever.
The Prime Minister at the time, Rishi Sunak, said he would take action.
These dogs are dangerous. I want to reassure the public that we will take all necessary steps to keep people safe.
The XL bully was added to the government's list of banned breeds in England and Wales. Bans in Scotland and Northern Ireland followed. The dogs could no longer be used for breeding, a tactic designed to eradicate it altogether. For those who already owned an XL bully, they would have to apply for an exemption and follow restrictions.
The law had to make a dog owner accountable, specifically that your dog is muzzled in public places, is on lead in public places, is neutered, is exempt, so has a certificate of exemption as a banned breed, okay? That the owner has it registered to one address only, and that they do not sell, give away the dog.
The alternative for owners was to take £200 in compensation from the government and have their dog put down. If they did nothing, they risked their dog being seized and destroyed. The new law didn't go down well with many owners. Leading animal welfare groups, including the RSPCA, agreed something needed to be done, but argued against a ban targeting the XL bully.
Breed just isn't a reliable predictor of aggressive behaviour, but unfortunately, breed-specific legislation suggests to the public that there is such a thing as a dangerous breed or a dangerous type. Therefore, by virtue of that, you've then got dogs who are safe. And we know that that's not true.
Before a ban could be imposed, the government had to decide what exactly is an XL bully. The definition is not as simple as you might think.
Good girl.
This is a well-trained female XL bully. They're smaller than the males. XLs are not purebred dogs like Labradors or Cocker Spaniels. They're a crossbreed, often a mix of American Pit Bull Terrier and American Bulldog. Robert Lane has trained dogs for more than 40 years.
So the government came up with a set of standards, a set of measurements that say what makes or doesn't make an XL bully. So the length of her muzzle, the broadness of her skull, and right across the top of her head, all of those would be indications as to whether or not she's an XL bully. The whole length of her body, all of these measurements would be taken all the way down her body to her haunches, her back legs and how straight they are. All of those would be measurements that would determine whether or not she's an XL bully.
The government said an XL bully had to have a muscular body and a blocky head. The female had to be at least 19 inches tall and 20 inches for a male. It was down to owners to do the measuring and decide whether their dog met the criteria.
Come on then. Yes, good boy.
Sarah Druitt wasn't sure about her dog Blue, who was only 6 months old when the ban was coming in.
We already knew that Blue was going to be a big dog, just because of the size of his head, his muscular body, even at a young age.
So you exempted him as an XL bully?
Yes, we did. Although Blue meets height, I don't think he's large enough or heavy enough, stocky enough or broad enough. If he was 19.5, I wouldn't have had to exempt him.
Does that 1/2 inch make him less dangerous, more safe?
Well, according to the government, yes. It doesn't matter how tall Blue is, how wide his chest is, he's still a good dog. And he's got a lovely temperament.
But in the eyes of the government?
In the eyes of the government, because of his height and because he ticks off a few of the criteria, he's a dangerous dog.
More than 67,000 applications for exemption were completed by dog owners. The government was only expecting 10,000. We've discovered the day the law came into force in England and Wales, the government changed one of the criteria after the window for exemption applications had closed.
On the 1st of February 2024, updated guidance for enforcers was issued, which contained a different measurement than that which had been published for owners and the members of the public to make their assessments against.
The new measurement for the XL Bully changed the size of the dog's head. Owners who'd compared their dogs against the previous size criteria and had chosen not to exempt as a result may now own a banned breed. Others may have had their dogs destroyed when they didn't need to.
If you are required to measure your dog and make a decision that impacts the rest of your dog's life and the rest of your life as well, to avoid criminalising yourself, that's a really significant change, because it could mean that you made the wrong decision and it's too late by that point.
The government says it convened a group of experts and other stakeholders to define the physical characteristics of the XL Bully. It also says the change in criteria was a minor technical change and the real-world impacts of this change are minimal.
What do you think about this criteria change? And what does it say about the ban?
Yeah, because they didn't know what they were looking at, what they were doing. They don't know what an XL Bully is. It just seems completely inconsistent.
It's absolutely crazy. I don't know of any other situation where we base a dog solely on its appearance. If you say that dog is dangerous, it's no less dangerous because its head was 1/2 inch too small or its nose was 1/2 inch too long. It's not going to become any less dangerous.
The trouble with trying to ban a specific type of dog is that one size doesn't fit all.
So it was on the 6th of November. They'd had like a belated Halloween disco at school. They'd coming to pick him up after school. He was all excited. He was literally in like the best mood ever. He had a little lollipop.
Joanne and her 5-year-old son Roman began the walk home through a park in Doncaster. The ban had been in place for 21 months.
There was a man and his dog. It wasn't on a lead, it wasn't on a muzzle. It saw Roman. So I just said to him, do not run. As soon as I said that, the dog had just ran.
What did you think it was in terms of the type of dog?
I thought it was an XL. I thought it was an XL Bully. It was a big bully type dog.
What happened next is upsetting to hear.
He didn't stand a chance. Literally, like, the dogs just jumped at him, latched onto him by the face, pulled him to the floor. I thought he was dead. I literally thought, oh my God, like my brain's like, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. I seen all the blood. He was screaming, I'm gonna die. All I could really do was like scoop him up. As a mother watching that happen to my child, I don't quite have the words to describe it.
Roman was rushed to hospital and underwent surgery.
Hi, Pudding. Mummy. Hi.
His scars have healed well, but the attack has had a lasting effect.
Have you? Oh, have you still got your Vaseline? Yeah. Oh, have you been putting it on? Yeah. Yeah.
It's changed us forever. It's changed Roman forever. It's changed our whole outlook. Right now, we're planning his 6th birthday party, which he's really excited for. We could have buried him. We could have been planning a funeral. This one stupid action from somebody who doesn't have the dog under control could literally cost your child's life.
A man was arrested and the dog which attacked Roman was seized. Joanne thought it was an XL Bully, but an official assessment later showed it didn't meet the criteria.
They're still doing damage. They're still attacking. They're still causing trauma. They're still nearly taking kids' lives.
People are still getting bitten. People are still reporting dangerous dogs to the police. People are still dying because of incidents involving dogs. We ultimately want everyone to be safe, and what we don't want is a focus on one type of dog. And this is the problem. We have to recognise that any dog poses risk to people in terms of whether or not they can use aggressive behaviour. It's not about breed.
Even when XL bullies have been exempted by their owners, they've still attacked. In September 2025, 18-year-old Nikita was attacked by 2 XL bullies as she walked her puppy Maisie.
It was all morning, she was like sat looking at me, waiting for me to take her. So I thought I'll just take her around the corner for a little bit.
Just yards from Nikita's home, 2 XL bullies had escaped from their garden. They weren't muzzled.
He starts running out towards me. One came around and grabbed her and just started running, pulling me with her. I was shouting at the dog, wanting it to just let go of Maisie, but just
shouting help, weren't you? And let go, get off.
Yeah.
Workmen who'd climbed onto their van's roof for safety tried to pull Nikita up too, but she wouldn't let go of Maisie's lead. One of the dogs then turned on Nikita.
It was when I was shouting at one of the dogs, the other one started biting me.
Where had you been bitten?
I had one on my elbow, one on my leg and one on my back.
When did you realise that you'd lost Maisie?
It was when the men on the van had told me I had to let go of her. And they had just said, she's gone. And I just let go and ran. I was just thinking they were going to do the same to me that they did to her.
You thought you were going to die?
Figures show that dog attacks in general have been rising year on year since 2018. We've found that in the 12 months after the ban, attacks involving XL bullies killed 6 people. Last year, it was 3 people. The police say the pressure being placed on them in dealing with dangerous dogs has never been greater.
In the dog world, I've not known this type of demand in my 26 years of policing service. So this is a new and emerging threat, if you like. Not just, I guess, from the individual point of view, but then from a resource point of view behind the scenes on that. So the vehicles that we would have had before would have been designed around seizing sort of a 20, 30, 40 kilogram dog. Now we're into a 50, 60 kilogram dog. Most forces have had to go out and source additional kenneling capacity to deal with the demand. And our kennel numbers have gone up by around about a third since the XL bully ban came in.
This is where many banned breeds are taken when they're seized. Unable to deal with the numbers, police forces now rely on private specialist kennels. Panorama has been given access to one. We've been asked not to identify its location or the staff.
We're obviously bringing dogs in from organised crime members. They could break in and take the dogs. They could hurt the staff. We have other sites around the country, so this is just one site of many.
Across 7 kennel sites, they house more than 500 XL bullies.
So we've got XL, so these have come in as strays. This was tied to a tree a couple of days ago. Is that because they haven't got the money to take to a vet and put it to sleep? Is it the fact they can't afford to feed it anymore? This might have bitten somebody and it's just been dumped, we don't know.
Many of the XLs here have been abandoned.
We can't rehome an XL bully under present legislation, so these dogs will be destroyed. That is the reality of the XL bully ban.
Today, every kennel is full. Screens cover many of them. Some of the dogs are so volatile, our presence could provoke them. I'm taken to the back of the main compound.
We're going to go to the security section, so dogs that are a little bit more challenging, This is a particular dog that broke out last week. Shows you the destruction they can do.
Every dog is given a colour grading. Green, the least aggressive. Black, the most.
Now, before the XL bully ban, 90% of our dogs would be green. Easy, easy, easy. You've seen 2 green here.
So the level of aggression has changed?
100%.
Wow.
100%.
This is where some of the black level dogs are kept.
Dangerously out of control, bitten a neighbour on the face, breached exemption. Bite score 5.
Yeah.
Potential fatal.
Yeah.
Some of these dogs will be destroyed under court order. Those abandoned or stray will also be put down. Others seized for breaches, such as being without a muzzle or having no exemption certificate, may be returned by the courts to their owners.
I need to take this call, sorry. Hello. Okay, what is it? Okay, we'll get a team in. Cheers. We've got a job on. 10 minutes, we need to roll. We've got a dog that's attacked a person in a car. Police are on scene, but they can't get the dog out.
As a team goes to the incident, vans are backed up in the yard. They've been arriving all day delivering seized dogs. Nearly all of them suspected XL bullies. Some involved in attacks, others abandoned. The year before the ban, the RSPCA reported 21 XL bullies having been dumped by their owners. In just the first 6 months after the ban, 129 were abandoned.
We quite clearly have a problem. Would you rehome that dog, not knowing anything? Would you put your name to it? Because I wouldn't. I'm worried about when I have to sit in front of a coroner and say, I'm sorry I rehomed that dog because I felt sorry for it. I'm sorry your daughter's lost an arm or been killed. And that's the reality of this situation. It's like a horror movie when you go to some of these jobs. It's bad with an adult, it's even harder with a kid, for me. I hate school holidays. I hate half term. I hate Christmas because I dread the phone ringing because the bites do increase during the holiday period and half term, and it's just horrendous.
The whole point of the ban was to keep the public safe, right?
So you're asking me, is it working? Is that what we're getting to?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it protect the public? 100%. There must be people walking around today who haven't been attacked. So I would say yes. Could it have been done better? Potentially. Could it have waited longer? No, I don't believe so. Was it the right decision to bring this ban in at the time? Yes, it was, because the numbers of dogs that were coming in and people that were being attacked was, for me, getting out of control.
Seizing more dogs comes at a price.
Was the cost of all of this underestimated?
Hugely. So if I go back to 2018, our kennelling expenditure was about £4 million. The estimated cost for the first year of the ban coming in was 25 million. It's a lot of money. That's a lot of neighbourhood police officers.
How are you going to keep bankrolling this?
We are just going to have to decide and concentrate on threat, harm and risk, where there is, more of a risk to the public than those lower level cases.
That can't sit comfortably with you, because you weren't just seizing dogs for the sake of it prior.
No,
right?
we weren't seizing dogs for the sake of it prior, but we've had to adjust our...
So because it's now costing 25 million, and I suspect next year will be more and so on, you're now having to make, would the word compromises be fair?
We're changing in policing tact on how we accept and manage risk. What I mean by that, I think...
But I guess what I'm saying is you're not doing that by choice. You are doing it because it's the only way you can afford to carry on.
Well, there's the finance conversation is a finance conversation we'll have with government, but we will continue to manage that risk. We are perhaps applying a slightly different element of risk tolerance. We are perhaps looking at actually, do I really need to seize this dog? Can it stay at home? Can I engage with the owner with some early diversion? So there are other tools in our armoury to effectively help us manage those types of cases.
In a statement, DEFRA, the department which deals with dangerous dogs in England and Wales, says it's continuing to assess whether the current dog control rules are sufficient to ensure communities are protected. It says the government must balance the views of those critical of the ban with its responsibility to ensure that the public is protected from dog attacks. It says it will continue to monitor the operation of the ban. Back in Shropshire, Marie and Kayla want Morgan's death to prompt major change. They think the current legislation is too focused on the dog. They want more focus on the owner.
To have a gun in your home, you need to have a licence. You are then background checked. You have to have character witnesses. They check that you've got a gun cabinet in your home. Where are these checks for these dogs? Where are they? There's none. You sign a piece of paper, you say, I've got this dog, it's at this address, and then you're on your merry way. Nobody's checking on it.
Morgan was a voice for change. That's what she loved, to make a change. If you'd met her, you'd never forget her. And I think that goes for her name and her story too.
We can't just have her die for no reason. Something needs to happen from this.
While the legislation has divided opinion, most agree on one thing: responsible ownership has to play a key part in the way forward.
The problem with these dogs is this end of the lead, not that end. The problem is the person who's holding the dog. And if they're irresponsible with it, and you ban this breed, what happens? They just go out and get another one. And they'll be just as irresponsible with that one.
What's the solution?
So the solution is we need better education of owners. Unfortunately, anyone can go out and get any dog. You can just go out and get a dog. But what we have is people who aren't educated to rear them responsibly. And so they make really poor choices. The dog becomes a product of that environment, and then the dog too makes poor choices.
These dogs will be with us for generations to come. And in particular, in the short term, I think we will continue to see dog attacks as these dogs start to come of age and reach maturity. So I think it's going to probably get worse before it gets better.
However the ban plays out, attacks like these still continue. In the 2 days after Panorama filmed at the kennels, staff say they were called to 39 separate dog attacks. 17 of them involved XL bullies. 9 people were left with life-changing injuries.